What's up, guys? Welcome to one of my more important videos on my channel that I have on right now. I've actually been wanting to do this video for quite some time right now, and I'm finally doing it today, so that's good. And I hope you guys really benefit from this video and that it improves your skill as a Call of Duty player. Okay, so tip number one, always stand your ground. I mean, unless you're probably getting hit with a bunch of IEDs and grenades, and maybe launchers or whatever the guy's hitting you with that are not bullets, never run away, because if you run away, the enemy's going to pick you off right away, because all of that stress is just going to leave his body right away, and he knows that it's just a free kill to kill you because you don't have your gun aiming at his face. Now, if you do have your gun aiming at his face, he's going to start stressing out, and his hands are probably going to start sweating, and he might just make a mistake, and you might just get that one kill. Unless you have the upper hand, then you know everything's good. So that's tip number one for you guys. Tip number two, don't go back when you're being shot. This applies mostly for when you're being shot by a sniper or maybe a camper, because if you go to a spot and then you spot an enemy from quite a distance, and then you start shooting at them, but then they shoot you and you manage to survive somehow, and then you go back to the same spot where you were getting shot from after your health recovered a little bit, they're already going to be aiming their sights down there, and they're going to pick you off right away. They're going to kill you. You could be a dumbass still and try to get across, like, by the same spot that you were shooting from, and somehow manage to pick the enemy off. But that's not the smart way to go. What you really want to do is you want to flank around and find a different route and pick them off from there if you really want to get rid of them, which is what I usually do. Okay, so tip number three, always use dead silence. Like, holy shit, when I first got, like, my headset, I listened to my own footsteps and everyone else's footsteps, and I realized what I was missing on. Like, I was totally missing dead silence and all the other names that they had for the same perk on different Call of Duties, because your footsteps are super loud, especially when the enemy has amplify. They could hear you so much louder. And here's where like amplify comes in handy. Like, if you have headsets, use amplify definitely, because you're gonna hear the enemy so much louder. You're gonna know exactly where they're at depending on what kind of headset you have. I mean, lately I've been taking amplify for granted, but then I started using the perk again, and holy shit, my games have just been so much better. Guys, trust me, if you have headsets, use amplify no matter what. If you have a muted TV and you don't care what you sound like or what your gun sounds like, whatnot, whatever you're thinking about, always use dead silence. It's so helpful. So tip number four, don't walk along long walkways. It's a little tongue twister for you guys right there. Don't walk along long walkways. Fuck. It's a tongue twister when you fuck up. So don't walk along long walkways, because but what I mean by this is, don't go running around the longest hallway that you could find in the map, because if you do that, well, two things: it's gonna take you a long ass time to get to your destination, and second thing, which is the most important thing why you shouldn't do this, is because eventually an enemy is gonna come out and he's gonna kill you. For example, on Call of Duty Ghost map Sovereign, you know how you have those really long walkways on both sides of the map. You don't want to be walking around there. That's just gonna get you killed right away. So tip number five, it is definitely smarter to stick to the outside of the map. You don't really want to be going in the middle of the map all the time, because you're gonna die really often. I mean, you can go every once in a while to get some kills if you're desperate or whatnot. Maybe pick up a kill or 5 or 500, depending on what kind of skill level you got, or if you're a hacker, which I don't like, so get the fuck out of here. I'm kidding. So yeah, stick to the outside of the map. You're definitely gonna die less. You're gonna get a lot more kills if you know what you're doing, depending on what game mode it is and what map it is, and your enemies are not gonna see you or hear you. It's the best thing to do. Trust me, guys. Your KD, if you worry about your KD, this is gonna be really important. Now, tip number six, which I find to be the most important tip out of all, is choose the right sensitivity. Sensitivity is so important in, like, a Call of Duty. Like, at first I used to use really high sensitivities, always the highest. I used to go on insane all the time. Then later, a few months back, I decided to drop my sensitivity down to lowest I've gone so far, 12, and highest I'm gonna go 16, depending on what kind of map I'm playing on. Like, let's say I'm using an SMG, I'll probably bump my sensitivity up, and if I'm using an assault rifle, or a marksman rifle, I'll probably, lower it down for more accuracy. And that's what people usually do. They just lower their sensitivity for more accuracy. And pro players, they usually run around 1-digit number sensitivity, but I don't think you really want to be going that slow. I mean, it's my opinion, but what I think you guys should do is just use the sensitivity that you feel comfortable with, and don't change it that often, because you're not going to be getting used to like one thing. You're going to be switching up around and everything's just going to get messed up, trust me. So if you don't know what sensitivity to use, I recommend you guys use something from 12 to 16. Okay, so tip number 7. Don't sprint while taking on a corner or a high traffic area. By that I mean is that whenever you're gonna turn a corner or a place where someone's like a bunch of people are at very often, you don't want to be sprinting. You want to be ADSing, especially if you have stalker on, which is awesome. If you're gonna be aiming down the sides, you always want to be ADSing with a clear sight, maybe like a red dot, not something like the MTRX that highly obstruct your vision. You want something really very clear like the red dot sight, and just walk in so you can pick the guys off. Or if you don't really want to be going inside the whatever place you're gonna be going into when you're turning a corner, if you don't want to be ADS, and whatever you could do is just get your crosshairs on the enemy or where you think that the enemy is gonna be coming from. Steady aim also helps a lot for that. Okay, so tip number 8. If you're gonna use a riot shield, make sure to look like the squad mate support streak, because if someone just sees you with a riot shield, they're gonna be like, oh, it's just some stupid player using a riot shield. Let me get this guy real quick. But if it's a squad, if people think that you are a squad mate, they're gonna kind of back away, because these squad members, they turn to like whip out their pistols super fast and just kill you. So they're gonna want to keep their distance. And if you want to look like these guys, what you gotta do is that you gotta wear the same uniform as them. Just watch them whenever you're playing on a public match. You usually find them, and you want to use the same uniform as them and the same head that they use. I think it's head A. And you want no camo on your riot shield whatsoever, and you'll totally blend in. You'll look like one of them. Now, tip number 9. Just because your head is covered, it doesn't mean that you really are. I mean, everyone knows that in the past Call of Duties, there's been a lot of problems with the whole what your character looks like and what you're actually doing. So you might think that your head is covered when you're taking cover and by like some wall or a little barrier or whatever it is. But you're actually, most of the time you're not. I mean, sometimes I think I'm crouched and that my head is covered, my body is fully covered. But always make sure that there's more space left for your head to be covered whenever you're using some kind of cover. It's very important. You actually get picked off like that a lot. Happens to me a lot, and I know I'm actually trying to improve on this. So tip number 10, go on private match. People take this for granted, but if you go on private match and you set the enemy level to recruit and you play for like about an hour or two, or depending on what kind of time you feel comfortable with, and then you go back to public matches, you guys will play so amazing. Trust me, it has happened to me before. I've never got a KEM before, and I think I've gotten like up to 20 kills maybe after doing that. And I remember I was using the Vectors in Warhawk. I was just so excited, and I keep doing that every time I'm feeling sluggish. I just go on private match, put the enemies on recruit, and I play like fucking balls. Now, tip number 11. It's kind of like the opposite of tip number 10, but it has the same result. You go on Clan Wars and you play with hard players. You know, you play not tryhards. They're just really good at what they do. Like, they know what to do. Like you'll learn a lot of like places to hide behind, a lot of different things in the map that you didn't know about. You'll learn what guns to use, which actually applies to tip number 12. And I'm gonna head to tip number 12 right now. So yeah, tip number 11, guys, consider going into Clan Wars and don't back out right away. I'm like at first, because you're doing bad. Obviously, people are gonna be good on there. What you gotta do is you gotta progress, and you will eventually get better at Call of Duty. Trust me. So tip number 12, use the weapons that most people use, especially if they're good players. Like, you don't want to be taking off a weapon from some stupid noob using the CBJ. That gun's just not worth it whatsoever. You want to really, like, on Clan Wars, you usually see people use Remington, MTRX, Vector, and maybe a Honey Badger. I haven't really seen that so often, but those are like the top 4 guns in the Call of Duty game that I've seen more often, in my opinion. So yeah, that's what I really recommend you guys to use more often. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video today. I hope you learned a lot from these tips, and that they do play a big part of your Call of Duty experience. That is my goal for this video. Obviously, I'm giving you guys tips, so if you want to recover the tips in your mind, just watch the video all over again until you get them all down. They're really helpful. Trust me, because I know everything, like, duh. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. I'm out. Come back tomorrow for another video if I don't fall asleep like I did yesterday and not post a video that one day. So yeah, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like the video. I'm out. For real this time. Like, bye.